the extreme to suck, and you playing fullback up there. And that's all you in the weight room. And watch you work out in the weight room. But you can pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and I learned that 16 pages fast. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. Martin Houston show can be watched live on Facebook at Martin Houston Live and at Tide 109. Also on YouTube at Martin Houston Live. And you can also catch the video simulcast at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. It's a wild card Wednesday, so we may be all over the place, and it's also our last show before the Christmas holiday season. So we want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And as we do each and every day, reminding you that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, Joe. How you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing great today, Martin. Excited to be here. Excited for a couple days off.
Yeah, a couple days off. I get a day. I really don't get a day off, but I don't have to get up at 5:00 tomorrow morning. So I guess I get to sleep in a little bit. But but it's exciting times for a lot of reasons. Alabama football, of course, in bowl preparation as they take a little time off. And yesterday I talked about the concerns over COVID being what potentially could derail Alabama, and one of the other playoff teams already fighting that concern. And we'll be talking about that and that potential. Like I said, that's the thing that I think poses the biggest threat to the Alabama Crimson Tide football team not winning against Cincinnati in round one. And so if you want to talk about that, you can give us a call. Bama Hoops, good, bad, ugly, or, tough loss last night to 79-78. Does that help, hurt? Definitely not the way you want to end before you went into SEC play, but does this help the Crimson Tide in the long run? Does it make them better? So we'll definitely look into that conversation as well. And then, of course, we have some transfer news, things happening throughout the transfer portal world. And, of course, people now saying that Alabama, the rest of college football becoming the farm league for Alabama. Heard that thrown out yesterday as Alabama picks up a big-time transfer in Mr. Jamar Gibbs from Georgia Tech, all SEC running back. He is definitely a huge pickup when you think about it. Xavier and I of X's O Sports were talking yesterday. Does he become our featured back next year potentially? And so Nick Saban once again using the transfer portal, filling gaps, Joe. And he made the statement he doesn't bring in any transfers unless it's someone that can help the team win immediately, or number one or number two type of player. And so will this mean that other guys hop into the portal, or is Nick Saban edging his bet that some of these guys may be a little longer returning back to the playing field, as Alabama has Kamar Wheaton, Roydell Williams, and McClellan all out with injuries, and no guarantee that any of them will be back full speed, full time. I thought there was an interesting story, Joe, on done by one of our team members about Saban and the number one overall pick, and whether or not Evan Neal breaks that barrier, that glass ceiling. One of the few things that Nick Saban hasn't managed to accomplish in his 15-year run. I'd like to get your thoughts on that. And if you want to read the article in its entirety, you can go to tide109.com. And if you want to get in on the conversation, comment on anything that I've set up so far, or you have something you want to bring to the table, you can call us at 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. But does Nick Saban break that glass ceiling this year with Evan Neal coming into this year? He hadn't had a quarterback win the Heisman, check, and now number one overall player. Does it happen this year?
I think they have a great chance to do that. I think a lot of Alabama fans are probably looking ahead to next year with Bryce Young and Will Anderson maybe be that number one overall pick. But the Jags lost. The Lions. Excuse me. The Lions won a game this weekend to put the Jaguars into number one pick contention. We all know that last year the Jaguars picked Trevor Lawrence, so it kind of makes sense to double down on and reinvest in that number one overall pick by protecting him. And what better way to do that than Evan Neal, a tackle? I think he has a great. I mean, he's going to be a top 5 pick. That I feel great about saying. But I think it presents a really good fit for the Jaguars at that number one overall pick to protect Trevor Lawrence for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, that's what when you look at that, as you say, that if you make an investment, a major investment, your next goal is to protect your investment, and that's in anything. And of course, if you have a right-handed quarterback, the best way to protect them is that blindside tackle, and Evan Neal definitely seems to fit that mold and that bill. And I don't think this is necessarily a bold statement because you alluded to it already. If the two best players on this team in 2021 both duplicate their seasons next year, there may be a battle for who's one and who's two in terms of Bryce Young and Will Anderson. Alabama could easily next year have 1 and 2. As far as and as you just stated, it's all really based on who's the worst team in the NFL, right? If the Jaguars were not, if the Lions had not figured out how to beat somebody 2 times, we wouldn't even be having this conversation possibly. But if there's a need at quarterback and or linebacker next year, or some teams may make moves to get one of these 2 guys if they duplicate their season. Speaking of Bryce Young and Will Anderson, so. I don't know if you saw that they were talking. I love it when you talk about a Will Anderson, and Nick Saban was asked about him. Will Anderson is a rare breed, Joe. He's probably the most talented kid on the team, athletic team, but then he also has the highest motor, and he loves to prep and he loves to practice, and he has the complete package. So I would not be shocked if that young man is not battling for that number one overall spot.
Dude, Joe, he and Bryce. I mean, that's the thing about him, Bryce, and Evan Neal. Yeah, they all play the most valuable. Well, you're missing a corner, but they all 3 play the 3 of the 4 most valuable positions in pro football: tackle, quarterback, and edge rusher. Yeah. So to have 3 guys that depending on the NFL team's needs, could go number one overall. I think that's so impressive. If Will Anderson and Bryce were both draft eligible this year, you'd have Alabama with 3 of the top 5 picks for sure.
And I hadn't even thought about it that way. And like you said, if you're looking at what players, what positions do you want, and what positions does it take to win in the NFL? Show me a team that's winning that doesn't have at least one or two of those types of players that's disruptive, and you're not going to find them, especially from the quarterback position. But most quarterbacks that are disruptive and explosive also have an accompanying left tackle that allows them to do so. So, yeah, that's right. They would easily be all rated as the number one player at their position coming out. And speaking of that, I, I I don't know if anyone else has said, but shout out to Will Anderson, unanimous All American, in terms of this year, meaning he was selected by all five of the organizations that pick the uh, All Americans, and he was unanimous. And of course, Evan Neal missed it by one. He was not the selected by, I think it was the Sporting News, which left him off, or no, he was left off of the Associated Press. Evan Neal was. So he was 4 out of the 5 that make you unanimous, but he was consensus All American, which takes 3. And Bryce Young missed out on 2 of the 5. Walter Camp Football Foundation and American Football Coaches Association did not select Bryce Young as their first team All-American. So kind of surprised there, but Kenny Pickett got those 2 spots in terms of Bryce and the. But either way, consensus and unanimous. And Joe, correct me if I'm not wrong. You have to, at some point in your career, have to have been a consensus All-American to be considered for the Hall of Fame, College Hall of Fame. Is that correct? I think it's consensus.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
There's so many little nuanced qualifications for the College Football Hall of Fame, but I believe that's correct.
I think you don't have to be unanimous, but you have to be consensus. I think it is, and that's what. If you wonder, if sometimes people wonder why certain players aren't part of the College Football Hall of Fame, even though they were really, really, really good college football players, that's it's probably one of those little nuances that Joe was referencing, and I know one of them is around the All-American selection. So anyway, going to break here, want to remind you we can talk Bama hoops. Very disappointing loss last night to Davidson, but Davidson in and of themselves on a nice little streak themselves and playing good basketball. It'll be interesting to see where they end up at the end of the season. But Bama has some work to do, and this could be a good thing. In the long run, it's never good to lose unless you take the advice of Coach Nick Saban, never waste a failure. Nate Oates pointing that out. We'll talk about what he had to say. Also, Bama in the transfer portal. Joe, think about it. Is this guy, is Mr. Gibbs headed to Tuscaloosa to be the featured back in 2022? Will one of the young guys rise up, stand up, and step up? We'll talk about that and more. If you want to add to the conversation, give us a call at 205-342-9904 on the Taco Casa hotline, or post your thoughts and comments on chat, and we're working into the conversation.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks, and things pretty quiet as we start this Wednesday morning. Do drive carefully.
Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for DTY accessibility.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip-hop, or house, country, techno, or techno-country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Get more diamond than you thought possible at Fincher and Osmond.
It's the artisan-created diamond. It's a real diamond.
And it's real big. A full carat for about the price of a half carat.
She'll be back flipping into the new year when she sees these earrings.
If you don't know what to get her, this is what to get her.
See Tom before Christmas at Fincher and Osmond.
Slightly hidden on McFarland Boulevard between Edgar's and Local Route.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A brighter day today with a sunny sky. Tuscaloosa's high 55. Cold tonight, the sky clear, the low at 29. Tomorrow, sunny and warmer, the high 63. And for Christmas Eve on Friday, partly to mostly sunny and very mild, the high 69. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 33 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmartdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Right now.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. We're live and local on Tide 100.9. And want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904, the Taco Casa hotline open for business. Joe, as we were going to break there, talking a little bit about Bama hoops and also Jamari Gibbs coming over to Alabama. Is he going to be the man? That's Nick Saban always ahead of the game. And when you go look at this young man, definitely a potential game changer for Alabama. You know, he is a very crowded running back room for next year. Brian Robinson out. Trey Sanders, Kamar Wheaton, Wardell Williams, Jace McClellan, and then, of course, incoming running back Emmanuel Henderson, as well as, I forget, we signed one other running back out of Midwest, and I forget his name, but
Marion Miller. Yes, I think that's his name. Miller
is the last, last one. And you have to look at that list and go, Trey Sanders, you know, still wondering if he can regain, you know, that, you know, what he had before, you know. We'll see, possibly see some of that in what happens. I think that, you know, Christian Leary goes back to wide receiver. I believe that DeMoy Kennedy goes back to linebacker. So I don't think that those guys are going to be there. But Trey Sanders, you know, do you feel confident, Joe, at this point that Trey Sanders is a number one back at this point going in? Would you feel confident with him being the go-to guy for Bryce Young out of the backfield?
Yeah, Martin, honestly, at this point, I want to say yes. I want to say, of course, I'm encouraged by what I've seen this year and everything that he's overcome. But in my heart of hearts, I'm not confident. In my heart of hearts, I wonder if I still have questions. whether he can carry the load, whether he can be a full 3-down running back, or really whether he can be a 2-down running back for Alabama. I pull for him. I think we've seen flashes at certain points this year, but I don't know. Martin, I feel like Brian Robinson, you got to give him like a lot of credit, and for what happened in the SEC championship game. I feel like he wasn't really going to be ready to go, but he worked hard that week in the training room, and I feel like he was probably pushed to work hard because I don't know that Nick Saban and the offensive coaching staff would have been comfortable going into that game just with Trey Sanders. So I'm not sure, Martin. Maybe another summer, maybe another spring and summer would get him there, would get him over those injuries. But sometimes when you have enough of those injuries and they stack up on you, you lose that step. You lose that explosiveness. So I think it's great that you bring in another running back, but you have a huge crowd next year to kind of sort out what it's going to be.
Yeah, and like you say, I think is some physical and a lot of mental with him. Then you got Kamar Wheaton. We've never seen him play. And, his injury is not an automatic comeback from injury. Roydell Williams will still be injured this spring. Jace McClellan is most likely to not be, 100% this spring. So you're going into, and we'll have to check with Hank, or we'll know, I guess. I don't know if Henderson is an early enrollee. I don't know if Miller is an early enrollee. So if they're not, If Miller and Henderson are not early enrollees, you're going into the spring potentially with Trey Sanders and Gibbs as your two guys that are coming. You see what I'm saying? I mean, so and then Leary and
a hospital room in your you might as well turn your running back room into a rehab central.
That's right. And so with that said, Gibbs, Gibbs is the guy that may be the one. And once again, you can go to find out more intimate details about Gibbs and what he brings to the table, and whether or not we should have confidence from him being a guy. Do we feel like he can be a guy? This guy came out. You can go to tide109.com and see this article. Written by Joe himself, but this kid was a 4-star prospect in the 2020 class, number 10 recruit in the state of Georgia, says volumes. Number 8 overall running back in the nation, says volumes. So we're getting a guy in there, some other stats and things like that, and he was first team All SEC this year. So we're not getting a guy who was a slouch. This is a guy who was doing some good things, Joe, and he's going to be will cause some action. And based on the type of spring he has, it's very well you could see a running back or two possibly hop into the portal. Because they all right now before his commitment, those guys are probably jockeying for position, Joe.
Absolutely. And this is a guy, he committed to Georgia Tech after his junior year, and then got a lot more offers his senior year and stuck with it. So this is a guy that Georgia was one, Florida was one, Michigan was one. I think it's a great pickup if you can get a guy who like I just said, the running back room is going to be rehab central. So to have a guy who shouldered the load at a Power 5 school last year at a high level, I think it's going to do great for our offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Curtis Lewis asking the question: how many Bama players will be in the portal by spring? I think I'm going to hold off on giving a prediction till after the game. And see whether Alabama runs what Alabama does in bowl games, Joe. I mean, in the championship playoffs. Because if we run in this playoff and we play 2 more games, and the Ajay Halls of the world contribute, and some of these other guys contribute, then all of a sudden you may very well find that some guys stick around. if we go into this game and if a guy like a Jai Hall doesn't play these next 2 weeks, he's probably out of here because now he's had a whole month to show that he's ready to step up and at least, if not start, help the team win. So I'm going to hold it off, but I think there's going to be several guys leaving. I don't think Alabama's through in the portal either. I think Alabama may pick up a few more guys. Remember, the NCAA let the coaches sign, I think, 7 above the normal just because they know what the transfer portal is going to do to rosters. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Chuck Hunt, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning to you all, and at first I want to thank you. My prize did arrive on Monday. The package arrived. I want to thank you for getting that's an early Christmas gift for me.
No, you're welcome.
Everything looks great, and by the way, your fellow Tide Nation will be coming through my way on Interstate 20. And I know your team will be playing in the college football playoffs in Dallas. You'll be coming straight through my hometown of Monroe, Louisiana. And what happened? I work at a restaurant off Interstate 20, and many of your Tide, your fellow Tide fans come in to eat.
Hey, mention that real quick because I'm going to be driving out there, Chuck, next week.
So, yeah,
I need to know where to eat.
Copeland. Yeah, name is Copeland.
Okay, Joe, you have to if you stop by Copeland in Monroe, Louisiana, make sure you give a shout out to Chuck, man. That's pretty awesome.
I'm gonna leave Monday afternoon, so we'll see how the timing works out. But yeah, we'll see if I can work it in.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, a lot of them come by and die because off Interstate 20 on the way to Dallas because you have a straight shot to Dallas. Dallas is 280 miles from you. There are a lot of people from Monroe that live in Dallas. I even have 2 brothers that live there, and that worked out well. And going playing at the Cowboys place, and by the way, we were on that talking about the college football playoffs. How do you think that defense is going to do against quarterback? I watched him against teams like Notre Dame and others. How do you think the defense will do against Desmond Ritter, the quarterback of Cincinnati?
Well, first of all, I think Desmond. I think he's grown into a really good quarterback. Came back, worked on staying in the pocket a little bit more, and I think he's a guy that has a chance at the next level. I don't think it's as much him as it will be whether or not his offensive line can hold up, number one, and whether or not I think it's going to be critical, Chuck, how our DBs play in press coverage and all of that, because we should be another level for them. So that's going to be key. I think we'll disrupt them a little bit. I think our change up in our defenses may cause them a little problem. And one of the biggest transitions, and I hope this is what happens for Alabama, Chuck, is when you play against more elite athletes, the game is faster, and you throw balls that you think you can complete against a lesser opponent. And that DB, maybe Kool-Aid McKinstry or Jalen Armour Davis, is just a half step faster, and instead of knocking it down, they pick it off. And so I think we may get a couple picks in this game. Not ready to make a prediction on whether we get a pick 6, but I definitely think we get a couple picks in this game.
You're right about that. Yes, because Cincinnati hadn't faced a team like Alabama.
Yeah, and that's going to be their biggest challenge. I think the speed of the game. But they'll be ready. This is a big-time opportunity for a lot of guys on Cincinnati. They're probably more focused than they've ever been. And they are college athletes who have won a lot of games. And so Alabama can't just show up and win. They'll have to play. It'll be good. Yeah, and Luke Fickell has done a good job with them. Yeah, so and Cincinnati has been one of those programs that's won. That's where Kelly came from on his way to. He wrote it to Notre Dame. He wrote it to Notre Dame, and so Luke Fickell will be one of these guys that'll be at one of the big Power Fives. Well, he'll be Power Five shortly in the Big 12, even if he stays. Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate you, sir.
All right, you all take care. Be safe.
All right, be safe. Come back on the other side. Got a couple calls we want to get to. And if you want to get on the conversation, you can add your thoughts and comments on chat or call us once again on the Taco Casa hotline. Remember, go check out Overflow Express Wash. OverflowExpressWash.com is where you can find them. Great packages for you with unlimited wash. That is Overflow Express Wash. Andy Phillips and his team are waiting to serve you. And on behalf of them and Alabama 1 and Tide 109 and the Martin Houston Show, we want to wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no wrecks, and things pretty quiet as we start this Wednesday morning. Do drive carefully, and if you see conditions, give us a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan wishes you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful holiday season. Go see them. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-342-4301. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-342-4301 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-342-4301 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-342-4301.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com, that's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring. Hello, I'm Martin Houston, and I'm so excited about this time of the year because it represents not just football, but the season of the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. On behalf of Harvest Church and the Martin Houston Show, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and invite you to join Harvest Church on Sundays at 10 a.m. and Wednesdays at 6 p.m., where we're creating and enabling faithful followers of Christ. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Martin Houston Show and Harvest Church.
Martin, you're out right now.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. And hey, listen, man, we haven't talked much about Bama basketball. 79-78 loss. Did it help the Tide get better? Maybe, maybe not. Definitely not what you wanted. But does it have a positive impact if they take Nick Saban's advice? We're going to talk about that time permitting. We will wrap up the show by bringing in Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, presented by Johnson & Marshall Dentistry. But let's get to Tom. He's been patiently waiting. Tom, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, Martin. Merry Christmas, Martin. If I don't get to speak to you again this year, and to you and your family, I really appreciate your show, and really I've enjoyed it this year. So
thank you. Job. Merry Christmas to you as well, to you and yours.
Thank you, Martin. I wanted to say something about trade.
Yeah.
And really get your opinion on it. The thing that worries me about trade is not so much as the initial injury, that he had and this, that, and the other, but when he had that car wreck, my concern is that, and this may be kind of superstitious, I don't know, but when somebody gets injured internally, like Trey was, and it was a lot of people in that athletic department was worried where the Trey would even survive or not, and that it was very dangerous for him. But my thing is, Martin, that when you have an injury like that internally, it worries me because I'm a firm believer that when you get hurt like that, you lose something that you cannot regain. And what do you think about that? That kind of injury, it's way harder to come back from than even an ACL or something of that nature.
Well, I think, first of all, kudos to the young man for the progression he's made. There was a lot of people who didn't even think he gets back to this point, much less be able to have a conversation that can he return to what he was. When you watch him play, Tom, there's moments where you go, okay, that's what we saw when he was being recruited, and you see that occasionally, which tells me it's possibly mental as much as it is physical, if that makes sense. He may have lost a little bit physically, but he was an elite recruit. So him losing a little bit physically doesn't make him put him out of still being a really, really good college football player, good running back. So I think it's a mental thing. I think that maybe it's not, and this is not meant to be funny or facetious or anything. I really think that maybe some conversations with Bryce Young's dad or someone in that type of profession. Because remember, it took Derrick Rose years to get back from his injury. And it was all mental. It was not physical. So that's why I said this young man deserves kudos just for being where he's at. And I hope that this offseason bodes well. I hope I'm hoping that he makes a few plays in the playoffs that helps him understand, I can do this. Because that's what it's going to take. Once he realizes, okay, I can still do it the way I used to do it, then he'll be okay. But I don't know if he's gotten to that point yet, Tom.
I agree. But, the thing for me on Trey is he was one of my favorite recruits coming in, and when he first got here and all like that, I had high hopes that he was going to be really good, and then now, I just pulling so hard for him to get back because I hate for what's happened to him. You know what I mean? Had a great career in front of him. It's just been one setback after the other, and
the reality of it is, I think he's still technically, he was redshirted his first year. Last year was COVID, so he still has 3 years after this year.
Good.
So if he chooses,
that may be the career saver right there.
Yep. Because he didn't lose last year because of COVID, and he was redshirted the first year. So he still has 3 years, and if you think about it, he's probably had as much impact as is if you go back to the days of when Alabama was bringing in multiple guys, as much as Eddie Lacy or any of those guys did in year one, or Yeldon. So he still has a chance, and that's what I'm pulling for. Hey, Tom, thanks. I appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, sir. All right, Pat, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas to you too and everybody else. Man, how much more room does Coach have? I mean, this is an incredible, how do you say, icing on the cake kind of thing that he's doing in this transfer portal. What do you think?
Well, Pat, Quick, Marcus Banks, and Jackson Bratton all left, or all put in the portal. Okay, so Quick ended up at Georgia Tech, and Banks ended up at Mississippi State. So right now, those two guys just fill those two roster spots. Okay, so numbers wise, Alabama still has room from a transfer portal standpoint, and supposedly Hank said that the NCAA gave them permission. I think they can sign 7+ guys, so 25 plus 7. So just because of the portal. Now they still have to manage. They still have to manage the overall roster total, according to what Hank said. But if you get, I think you're going to see more guys going to portal from Alabama. And here's the thing, Alabama's losing guys into the portal, but we're not losing starters. We're not losing Jamison Williams and Toa. I mean, you have to think. This is the second all-conference player that's coming in at a need position. Toa was an all-conference linebacker. Boom, he's at Alabama now. This is a need. That was a need position. Jamison Williams wasn't a all-conference player, but he was coming to a need position, and he was an instant number one guy. When I say number one, not talking about first team. He's going to be in your first 3 rotation. And this running back, I very well think Gibbs could be our featured guy next year. After Xavier and I talked a little bit about it last night, and we started looking at the room and going, who's even going to be here this spring? You could possibly still have Leary and DeMoy Kennedy at running back in the spring.
Sure.
Because half of them are still injured.
But I think that Elijah Ricks could have been his best military coup out of the state of Louisiana. Besides picking up the top 3, wide receivers and inside slot receivers of the state of Louisiana. I mean, Nick just went down and destroyed anything that LSU had hopes of building.
Well, think about this, Pat. If with the guys we signed, don't be surprised if Boutte don't end up in Tuscaloosa. And if he does, there's going to be 3. I wouldn't be surprised if Jones Bell is out of here, Hall is out of here. Holden is going to play some, but don't be surprised if there's not a couple guys jump ship. Because we just got 3. Well, one was an athlete, but he's probably going to be a wide receiver in Law.
Okay.
Like I said, they're talking to Boutte, and he's still communicating a lot with Bama and following a lot of Twitter stuff and hyping up his potentially future quarterback in Bryce Young. If you think that he's liking his tweets publicly, I promise you they have DM'd each other.
Gotcha. But do you not think that Brian Robertson, that his ability over the next 2 games to create value for himself, that's what I'm so happy about, that we don't have the issues that other schools seem to have about players wanting to opt out and get ready for the draft. I really think that Brian needs to create more value.
I think without a doubt, Brian Robinson created huge value for himself when he did the bionic hamstring where they put that extra thick band, workout band, and they tape it to the top of your hamstring or back of your thigh and to your calf, and it kind of works as the contractor for your hamstring, so it takes off that tension. He showed that, and that's huge and valuable, Pat. And I think that he just needs to have a couple good games. And Brian Robinson is going to be a mid-round guy, third, fourth, fifth round back, most likely. Never know, though. It's not a lot of great backs coming out this year, so we'll see where he falls, or where he gets drafted. But what I'll say this, Pat, I'm not ready to say that, and I have to let you go after this. I'm not ready to say Alabama doesn't face the same issues that everybody else is. Alabama has just been relevant. It'll be interesting to see how many guys would opt out if Alabama was playing in a bowl game that wasn't a New Year's Day bowl or didn't matter in the championship picture. I don't think our guys is as great as we think they are when it comes to that. We just haven't had to face that since that trend started. So, all right. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, have a blessed one, and stay away from Uncle Tommy. That hey man, even Kramer's come down with COVID. That the Mad Money guy.
Well, hey, Georgia's backup quarterback has it, so their quarterback. Yeah, that's an iffy situation for Georgia. So we'll watch it and keep our eyes on it.
Big deal too. Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Have a blessed one, Martin.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right, come back on the other side. We'll have Scotty Hollins, Johnson Marshall Dentistry Christian Moment of the Week.
With the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
The city of Tuscaloosa's favorite outdoor ice skating rink is back and better than ever in a new location. Come find us at Government Plaza from November 22nd through January 17th. Skate passes and season tickets can be purchased at holidaysontheplaza.com and make great stocking stuffers. Looking to host a private party or celebration? We've got you covered. Learn more about private party packages at holidaysontheplaza.com.
Work is a part of all of us. We know that the world around us has changed, and that's why the Alabama Department of Labor is here to get you back to working hard. Work is a part of all of us. Let us help you get back to it by visiting your local career center or alabamaworks.alabama.gov. Funding provided by the USDOL, ETA, and Federal WIOA, and Equal Opportunity Employer Program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request. Brought to you by this station and the Alabama Broadcasters Association.
Roll Tide. Alabama is still Alabama. Tune in New Year's Eve. Touchdown, It's the Crimson Tide and the Cincinnati Bearcats in the Cotton Bowl, live from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, in the college football playoff semifinal. Our coverage begins at 11:30 on your home for Bama football.
This is Eli Gold, and you're listening to your home for Alabama football, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
During Dell's holiday event, save up to $250 on computers with Intel Core processors. Get special savings on Dell, XPS, and Alienware systems, plus monitors, docks, and accessories, all with free shipping. Call 800-BUY-DELL. That's 800-BUY-DELL.
Hello, I'm Martin Houston. And while I get really excited about football season, I love the holiday season even more. Merry Christmas from the Tide 109 family and the Martin Houston Show. Roll Tide.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. We got Mr. Scotty Hollins, Executive Director of Blueprint Ministries, joining us today. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing?
Hey, Martin, I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Doing well. I'll toss it to you to encourage us in our faith and how we can incorporate our faith into our daily walk, the boardroom, the classroom, or our chosen field of play.
Absolutely, man. I want to celebrate this Saturday. I want to go ahead and jump in. We got Christmas coming up on Saturday, on game day. You know, just Saturday's normally known as just game day. And I think I wanted to just talk about how special this day should be to all of us. And so when you think about, the fact that, we think about Jesus Christ coming here, and you hear me share this message very often, but you think about God sending his son, John 3:16. Everybody's Easter speech, right? You had to memorize this verse for Easter. God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. Was that your Easter speech, Martin?
Yes.
God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever would believe in him would not perish, but have everlasting life. We're bringing it into focus for this specific day on Christmas. Matthew 1:21 says, she will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. Jesus is the Greek form of Joshua, which means the Lord saves. And so I want us to understand that, our greatest need, the greatest need for humanity was we needed a savior, because our sins, with Adam and Eve eating of the fruit, that brought sin into the world. And from that point forward, our sins separate us from God. And so our greatest need was for a savior. And God the Father shows his love for us, and that he sent his son Jesus to live a perfect life, to die on the cross for our sins. One of my favorite verses in Romans 5:8 says, God demonstrates his love for us in this: while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. And so I know that, we're all looking forward to actually us old people are looking forward to giving gifts. We don't really get a whole lot, right? We've got it. But understanding that, sometimes we have this expectation around Christmas of receiving, and if I don't get this, I won't be happy. Or if I don't, if this person doesn't give me something, I won't be happy. I want to make sure that we understand that the greatest gift that we could have ever received, God the Father gave us when he sent his son Jesus to live a perfect life, to die on the cross for our sins, and who also rose, resurrected him on the third day, so that he would prove that he was who he said he was. So I want to make sure that we never forget that the greatest gift that God could ever give us is his son. Now, if that is true, and I believe it is, then the greatest gift that we could ever give anyone is his son as well. If you have given your life to Jesus Christ, if someone has introduced you to Jesus Christ, the guy who introduced me to Jesus was a guy named Bart Benson. He's an athletic trainer, just doing his job. And, we had a conversation, and he started a Bible study. Long story short, he led me to Christ, discipled me, helped me grow my faith. And guess what? He made sure I understood that, Scotty, I shared this message with you, and now the rest of your life, you get a chance to share this, the privilege of sharing this message with others. And so the greatest gift that I've ever received, not even close, there's nothing even close, is Jesus. But it's also the greatest gift that I get a chance to share, Martin, every single day. And so we will give gifts. My kids will get stuff from myself and my wife. We're going to give them stuff. And I'll receive something, some socks and some underwear, something. I'm just joking. But I'll receive something. But the point is that it's not about, those things are good, but Jesus Christ is the best. So I want to make sure, even if you have, as you do give gifts this Christmas, I want to make sure that you share Jesus Christ with those who don't know him, because you will never give a better gift. You think about gifts that actually last, Martin. What's that gift that actually lasts? What's a gift that you received 20 years ago you still got? And you got one of those?
A tie? No, I'm just kidding.
That's right. And that baby is faded. It's faded, right? And so listen, we can give a gift, guys. Hear me out. We can give a gift that will last for eternity. You follow me?
Yes,
and I'm passionate about that. I guess that's very clear because, there is no better gift. And when you receive that gift, it puts everything else in perspective. It's almost stop talking, Martin. You appreciate it too. Help me out a little bit.
And of course, I piggyback off of that. It's the gift that keeps on giving. If we understand it, if we understand it correctly and do what we're supposed to. This past Sunday, Scotty, I said the greatest gift, new perspective, was my message, and I said, of course, we say that Jesus came because, he came to die for our sins. I said, well, the real reason Jesus came is because God loved us so much he couldn't stand to be without relationship with us. So he sent Jesus. Okay. So God gave the greatest gift. Boom. And then but God says, but what's your greatest gift back to me? See, the greatest gift you and I can give to our fellow man is to keep giving that gift. But the greatest gift we can give back to God is to give ourselves. Jesus gave himself so that you and I could have the gift of eternal life. But the greatest gift that Martin can give, or Scotty can give, or any believer can give to God is to give him ourselves in praise, in worship, and in commitment. So that was my message. So the greatest gift has already been given. And what prompted him to give, Scotty? Love. So if we'll let that, and it says that love of God has been shed abroad in our hearts. If we'll let that love be shed abroad, then we'll keep giving that gift over and over and over. And what I love about it, it's just as good the first time as it was the last time.
Absolutely. And it never gets old. And
that's right. And it's life changing. Every day.
We keep going too, Mark. We keep going with it.
I think the music's playing behind us. We might want to stop. So, hey, Merry Christmas, man. Tell our listeners where they can follow your awesome ministry.
Absolutely. You go to www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. You can send me a message there. Come straight to my email.
All right. That's Blueprint Ministries Tuscaloosa?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's
BlueprintTuscaloosa.com.
And that's why I wanted to make sure everybody hear that, because there's some other blueprints out there. Blueprint. Tuscaloosa.com. All right. Hey, that's Scotty Hollins. He's presented each week by Johnson Marshall Dentistry. Merry Christmas to you and yours, man. Thanks for what you do each and every Wednesday.
Thank you. Same to you, brother.
Roll Tide. Have a good one.
Roll Tide.
All right. Coming back on the other side, you'll have inside the locker room. I think Joe's going to be sitting in, so stay tuned for that great conversation. I'm Martin Houston, and so long. Remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not in your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide, and Merry Christmas from the Martin Houston Show and Tide 100.9.
It's a celebration. Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9.
Merry Christmas, Joe. Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Tide.